Check. 1, 2, 3.
The D. Brief. This is the D Brief.
Go. Your guide to Detroit.
Your guide to Detroit's
arts and entertainment scene.
This is the D
Brief.
Hello and welcome to the Debrief, your podcast for Detroit concerts, comedy, plays, food, drink, and more. It is Tuesday, March 5th, 2019, and I'm your co-host. My name is Seth Ressler.
And I'm Becky Scarcello.
And I am the new guy to town, relatively speaking, I guess.
And I'm the native.
You've been here long enough that I'm going to be saying that for a while.
Well, yeah, unless I start reverse aging, which is kind of my plan.
What, are you using a lot of moisturizer?
Yes, a lot of skincare products. So we'll meet up somewhere in that process.
All right, here's what we're going to talk about on today's show. We have Empty Bowls that is happening at Eastern Market on Friday night. We're going to talk to Bonnie Mellos, one of the organizers, about what's happening there.
And a popular music streaming service is poised to help emerging Detroit musicians.
Cat Video Fest 2019.
Woohoo!
It's coming to the DIA. I kid you not. We will tell you about it.
On Friday, you're going to want to tune into our spotlight interview with Marianne Wilkinson, new executive director of the Scarab Club.
All right, here's the deal. We talk about a lot in this podcast. If you would like us to email you a link of everything that we talk about in the show, all you have to do is go to our website, thedebriefdetroit.com. While you're there, sign up for the email list.
Or you can text the word Detroit to 444-999.
All right, let's get into it and meet our guest co-host.
The Debrief.
Your guide to Detroit's arts and entertainment scene.
Oh, we've got a musical guest today.
Always love the musicians.
I know you do.
Yes, I do.
He has a new album. It's called Versatility. You can see the video for She Makes Me. It's a great song.
Yes.
It's on his website, veryapropos.com. He's also going to be performing at the Empty Bowls that we were talking about earlier. That's going to be at Shed 5 of Eastern Market Friday night. 9 p.m. You can catch him. The event's going all night long. Please welcome to the show, Apropos.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Oh,
excited.
Welcome.
Excited.
Let's talk about your music and you know, how do you describe it to people who haven't heard you before?
Just try to let people know who haven't heard it that it's pretty much everything you want to hear. You know, it's a little bit of rock, rap, country, pop. It's very apropos. Just every genre.
But you have roots in gospel too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Son of a minister, so he was always singing and singing hymns and things like that. And I just kind of grew up in church playing drums and singing. And that led me into a little bit more soul and rhythm and blues. So yep.
I remember when your single came out, She Makes Me, I was like so excited. I listened to it that first day. I thought it was so good. And I was downtown and heading back home, and I called up a Lyft.
Oh, sweet.
And I played it for my Lyft driver.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Nice.
That's
And
great.
I had my phone. I'm like, because we were chatting a little bit. I could see he was like into it. And so I'm like, you got to hear this. And he's like, oh, that's
It's
a
catchy,
jam.
man.
This is a jam.
Yeah, it's a bop for sure. I enjoy listening to that song, just because it's catchy. It's fun.
And I like this album too because each song has a little bit different feel to it. Mm-hmm. But if I love listening to albums like all in a row,
Right.
and it definitely tells a complete story.
Mm-hmm.
So he speaks of all these genres, and you definitely hear that.
Yeah.
But that sound coming through is the modern Motown
That's right.
label that you've kind of been
The roots,
given. But
like you were saying, Seth, the roots, man. Started when I was young with the Motown and the gospel and the soul. So, trying to keep it going.
Now, you weren't born here in Detroit, but you grew up here in the area.
I was born in Baltimore, Maryland, East Coast, about an hour away from D.C.
Yep.
And I moved here in about, I think, like 92, 93.
How old were you?
I was about 4.
Yeah,
about 3
come
or 4
on.
years old.
I
So
was 6 when I moved to
raised-
California. I
yeah,
tell
yeah.
everybody I was from California.
No, I was definitely raised in Metro Detroit for sure.
well,
for
you're
sure.
a Detroiter.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yep.
Raised on Motown, raised on who were the artists
That's
that
right,
you
man.
listened to growing up?
So my mother really introduced me to a lot of like old soul, like old Motown, like J5, early Michael, Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
The Temptations, Martha Reeves, all of those, my mom really just loved soul. And my brother too. My brother's 11 years older than me, so you know what I'm saying, even him, growing up before me and hearing that type of stuff. We were all about the soul. That's how I was raised.
You know what I'm finding is that when we have my girlfriend's grandkids over and we want to pull something up on Alexa, is that Motown is the thing that you pull up because you know it's going to be family friendly.
It is.
You can listen
Yes.
to it around
It is.
kids. You know,
Upbeat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is.
So
Yeah, that's a good go-to for sure. You're right about
well,
that.
and now there's the Netflix.
I think I'm gonna add that on Spotify, like Motown playlist or something.
Yes.
I'm gonna blow your mind now. Is that you've got to see this Netflix cartoon that they have? They've done 10 episodes.
Motown Magic. It's
Yes.
called.
Oh, what? No,
And
I haven't
yes.
seen that.
It's amazing. They take all the Motown songs and basically turn it into it's set in
that's so cool.
Motown, but it's clearly looks
so
like
cool,
Detroit.
Man. What?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, definitely
what's
check
up.
that out.
Now your solo career is pretty recent, right?
Yeah,
so
about since September of 2017, I'd say.
you kind of took a leap of faith. And,
I was in the band from like 2011 until 2015, 16. And I ended up getting a job as being in car sales, and I was doing pretty well for a year and a half, but I didn't have that balance. I used to work and be in the band, and I'd have gigs
Sure.
on the weekend and stuff, so it kind of kept me balanced. But that stuff really subsided, and I just was like, man, I was just feeling like this is not what I want to do. So I ended up quitting, and I drove Uber and Lyft for about 3 or 4 months. I would talk to my mom on the phone, and she'd be telling me like, Austin, you got to do something. You know what I'm saying? Like you had a good job. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, Mom, I don't want to do that. And lo and behold, man, I get a call from London in January. I thought it was a joke. I thought somebody was like playing a prank on me. Like one of my friends, like, hello, may I speak to Apropos? Apropos. I'm like, come on. Some guy from, I Am Sound Publishing, and, wanted to talk to me about a deal. And 4 weeks later, I get a lawyer and I'm on a flight to LA, man. It's crazy.
Wow.
Crazy.
how did they find you?
Through a band called Liquid Monk, who was signed to their publishing as well. I had sent them a message on Instagram, just like, yo, like, let's connect, let's collab. First, they were really busy, and they were like, nah, we can't really do anything, so I thought my chances were over. And then they just messaged me a song. I got in the studio, did it, sent it to them. I guess what the label was telling me for, like, weeks, like, they were playing it over there, just like, and the owner of my label was, hey, what do you think of this guy? What do you think? Like, should we do something with him, this and that? And when he called me, he was just ready to go, and, did a proposal. And like I said, it took about another month for us to figure out, like, paperwork and stuff, and then I was gone.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
That's
so it's
great.
cool. Really good. It's a cool indie label. We have our ups and downs, so we don't agree on everything.
Sure.
But they're good people over there. So
Nice. And where was the album recorded?
the album was recorded in L.A. and in London at this place called Rack Studios. Also, I was at a studio in Blackpool, which is about a 5-hour train ride from London. I was working with these really talented individuals. Their name's Aztecs. They go by Aztecs. They're a producing duo, and they produce most of the bouncy songs that you hear on Versatility.
Awesome.
So yeah, it was a great experience. It was fun.
Well, very cool. Well, Apropos, we're so glad that you're here. Just hang out and have a good time with us.
Yeah, man, let's do it.
This is the D
Detroit.
Brief.
All right, Becky, let's talk about music news.
Okay, well, I'd like to start with a question. If you become this huge famous rock star, which I know you will, what will you do with your extra cash?
I really think that I would put people that I love and trust to work comfortably. What do you want to do? How can I invest in you? You know what I mean?
in other people's projects.
Let's
yeah.
make it. Let's make it work. That's. I think
His
that's
answer
a good way.
is so much better than mine.
What's
'cause
yours?
That's a good way.
I would reinvest it all in me.
Yeah.
That's all right. That's all right too.
What would
But
you do?
You can put, if you reinvest it in yourself, you can tell your loved ones like, hey, come here, I got a job for you.
Right,
what
yeah,
I'm
there
saying?
you
Like,
go.
why don't
Right,
you know?
yes.
That's right.
There'd be a lot of nepotism.
Okay.
I'd make everybody, my family work for me.
And that's not a bad thing. I'd really.
Oh, wait, you have control issues? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, who knew?
Well, so here's the thing. Jack White is doing something good for Detroit. Only one of only 5 remaining Negro League ballparks in America is actually here in Hamtramck. I don't know if you guys knew that, but it's pretty special place, right? But it's been in disrepair and needs help, needs to be restored. So there's a new campaign being launched, and the Friends of Historic Hamtramck Stadium plan to restore what was the former home of the Detroit Stars. So it's going to have a lot of historical markers and, almost be like an outdoor living museum and historical place, but also be used for youth baseball and soccer games. So Jack White's like, yep, I'm a big baseball fan. I love this. I'm kicking it off, giving you $10,000. So
he does a lot of good stuff with his rock star dollars there.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
He's been renovating quite a bit.
So like I said, this is in Hamtramck. It's right near the border of Hamtramck and Detroit. It was built in 1930, and it hosted many Negro League legends, including Josh Gibson, Cool Papa Bell, Satchel Paige, and Norman Turkey Stearns, who is actually from Detroit, and his daughter is now like getting involved in the project because she's still here. So if you want to check that out, they have a patronicity campaign going on, looking to raise $50,000, and the Michigan Economic Development Council will match that up to $50,000. So should be really cool. So there's a story about bullying that I want to tell you that has a music connection. But did you guys experience that? Growing up, being bullied?
Yeah, I was bullied.
You were?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, for what?
Who was it?
I grew up kind of different. I skateboarded. Wore tight pants, stuff like that.
Sounds like my son, my 18-year-old.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. They,
and it's hard.
They gave me a little
for boys
trouble.
like not playing like traditional sports and stuff. It's so goofy, but my son had the same experience.
I'm trying to think whether I did. I mean, I was a swimmer, but.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at roasting though, so they got it right back.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
That's what you have to do.
I never sulk. When somebody has something to say about me, I get to rubbing my hands together and
right.
You know what I'm saying?
See, you're good. You
didn't cower and
right.
Yeah. So Detroit rapper Trick Trick has a very sort of vested interest in this. He said it's always bothered him, seeing individual get picked on in whatever ways, and so he wanted to do something about it. So he's performing a free show on 313 Day, which of course is our area code in Detroit. So March 13th is celebrated as 313 Day. So on that day.
Wait, what's the typical celebration? Do I have to get somebody a card or a gift or?
Well, no, but you might have restaurant specials where there'll be meals.
I know Dilla's Donut Shop does a little something.
Yeah, so you'll get chips and a Faygo for $3.13 or things like that.
Gotcha. It's a coupon holiday.
A little bit like that.
Yeah.
But it's been expanding and there's cool events. So Trick Trick is doing this free show at L Club. And there'll be a bunch of guest performers along with him and an auction of items from Eminem, which he's a frequent, collaborator with. The Lions, the Red Wings, StockX stuff. So,
Becky, I do want to say, too, just give a shout out to Steve Howard, Trick Trick's drummer. He's a good friend of mine. He actually produced Oreo on Versatility.
Oh, so I love that song.
He'll be performing with Trick Trick. Yep.
Oh,
that's my boy.
Even better. Yep. Even better. Cool. So, emerging musicians, we talked a little bit about your career and how you kind of, your break, So, how do you find that in your industry, how do people get noticed? How do you move forward?
Is Instagram the way for all your other fellow musicians?
Yeah, I mean, Instagram's a great tool. I mean, it really just depends on what you're shooting for, man. As far as, there's so many different levels of being popular and, this quote unquote fame or clout, whatever you want to call it. There's just different avenues for different levels of it. You know what I mean? You can go on a show, American Idol, and you can be, known all around the world, or you can send a video to Jack White and be on his indie label. There's so many different ways, but
we're at that first rung of podcaster famous.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey man, I'm enjoying myself. I listen to the debrief. I love it.
We do have fun here.
We appreciate that.
So yeah, but Instagram's a great tool. Instagram's a great tool. Everybody sees you.
Yeah.
I would say artists, musicians, all kinds of creatives. Yeah. That's been popping on Instagram. Yeah. Well, so the streaming service Tidal. Okay, Jay-Z's music service. So they've launched something called Tidal Unplugged, and Detroit is the first city that they're going to pilot this program in. So the funders are Mark Lampert, who happens to have a grandfather that started making music here in Detroit. So I think they have a soft spot, and Robert Nelson. They're funding this. It's $1 million grant that Detroit artists of all genres can apply for. So all they have to do is submit their music through Tidal to apply for it. And this will cover living expenses, studio time, equipment, all kinds of resources you need to make some songs.
Yeah.
And the program helps musicians develop 4 songs for distribution. But here's the cool thing. The artists will still own all their own stuff.
That's great.
Yeah.
But Tidal will premiere the songs on their service. They'll promote them. There's going to be a concert of all the winners in November. So the finalists will be chosen in May. And this is like an a cappella acoustic kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we're talking, real musical talent. So that's happening now. Concert picks for this weekend coming up. Mariah Carey's at the Fox, so is Meek Mill this weekend. Flogging Molly, Cypress Hill, they're both
I love
at Fillmore.
Flogging Molly. That's a
know,
band. I love that
yeah.
Irish punk, the Dropkick Murphys, stuff like that. I used to
Yes.
play that back on the radio when I was in radio all the time.
That was your jam.
Drunken Lullabies is my jam.
Nice.
So.
Vince Staples is coming to Royal Oak Music Theater.
He's good.
Yeah, he's great. And next Wednesday, March 13th, Kiss at LCA, their final tour, I'm told. So a couple on sale things. This Friday, Smashing Pumpkins is coming to DTE August 14th. And this is kind of a funny story I'd never heard before. It was in the news recently that a woman from Flushing, Michigan, returned Billy Corgan's stolen Fender Stratocaster guitar that had been stolen from St. Andrews Hall here in Detroit 27 years ago.
Did she steal it?
That was not made clear, but she returned it.
That's so funny.
This is like that clock that went missing from the train station and then all of a sudden showed up. And
yeah. I don't think a lot of questions were asked. He was just happy to get it back because it was the same guitar used to record their debut album.
Yeah, I would be too.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever stolen from you?
I've had like a couple of like jackets. Oh, I'm sorry. I've had a couple of jackets taken like at shows and stuff like that.
Oh,
but,
man. Yeah.
Yeah.
You are a sharp dresser, so I can see why people would.
Yeah, man. There's one vest that's gone that I really did like.
You're still missing it?
Yeah.
I used to DJ parties in college, and somebody walked off with one of those big binders full of just CDs. Had to be like 100 CDs in there.
Oh,
And I was freaked out. I put up,
Man,
missing
that's
posters
terrible.
all over campus, and they mysteriously showed up in the library like a day later.
Oh, okay,
Just
good.
got
See,
them
there
back.
you go. So
It
you
was
got it
freaky.
back.
I
Yeah.
know.
Good,
People
good.
are strange about stealing stuff. But also on sale this Friday, Alice Cooper is coming with Hailstorm to DTE July 20th.
Wow, that guy's still around.
Yeah.
Coming up in just a few, we're going to talk about the Empty Bowls event that is happening and that, apropos, you're performing at
Yes,
this
sir.
weekend.
This is the Deep Brief.
Hi, I'm Ann DeLisi from 1019 WDET. Well, for years I've been talking with people who are artists to find out what drives their creative spirit. And those extended sit-downs have now culminated in a new podcast series titled Essential Conversations. In the inaugural episodes, I talk with MC5 guitarist Wayne Kramer about the early days of the MC5, jazz artists Esperanza Spalding and Terry Lynn Carrington as they critique each other's teaching style. I turn the tables on writer and humorist Mo Rocca, and official White House photographer for the Obama administration, Pete Souza, talks about the night Osama bin Laden was captured. You can find Essential Conversations wherever you download your podcasts.
The Deep Brief.
All right, this Friday, March 8th, there's a big fundraiser that's happening at Shed 5 of Eastern Market. We're going to be there.
Yeah, we're some of the celebrity servers.
Yeah, there's-
They use that term loosely.
It's
apparently.
the first time that word's ever been used to describe
For me, yeah, same.
We're going to be serving, and you're going to be in there as well, right?
Yeah.
An actual celebrity
Right.
performing.
Yeah. Thanks to Bonnie and everybody at Empty Bowls, I'll be headlining the music, so I'm really excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and there's soup from like 20 different restaurants. Yeah,
Yeah,
she'll
so
tell us
let's
all
get
about
into
it.
this
Yeah.
because I actually had an opportunity to sit down with Bonnie. We met up at the Foundation Hotel a little while back and talked about what Empty Bowls is, and we started with this question: like, what is the mission of this organization?
The mission of Empty Bowls Detroit is to raise funds and awareness for the food programs at Cass Community Social Services with a goal to end hunger one bowl at a time.
Yeah, so this is an organization that is feeding people 3 meals a day, 365 times a year, people who are in need, just taking care of them. And so they have their big fundraiser that happens once a year. And the last couple of years, they've been doing it over there at Eastern Market. Huge venue. So the question, of course, is besides all of us being there, which should be reason enough
to come.
for you to come out for. Well, you should be reason enough.
Yeah.
But what's going on Friday night?
So on March 8th, you will come to Shed 5, and we have 1,000 bowls that have been painted by members of the community for you to take home as a reminder that someone's bowl is always empty. Then you will enjoy soup from 27 restaurants from Detroit businesses. We have bread, we have cheese, we have beer, we have wine, we have desserts, and we have 3 bands that are participating in the event this year. So you get to enjoy all of that food and fare and fun, and then learn more about the program at Cass and what Cass Community Social Services does for the underprivileged in the city.
Yeah, this is our first year being involved. Is this your first year as well?
This is my first year, man.
All right, so you haven't been to, so we all are kind of...
I've heard about it. Wish I went last year. Apparently, there's going to be a lot of people, man.
Oh, yeah, it's like
1,000 or more.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole day and night.
Nice.
Cool,
It's a big deal.
Who's on stage with you when you perform?
My brother Steve Stone. Shout out to him. We linked up about 2 years ago, and just started jamming, and kind of formed Apropos to this live thing. And my other brother Steve Howard, who I was telling Becky about, who's Trick Trick's drummer.
Yeah.
So he's going to be on stage, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be live. Got a couple really cool covers that I'm going to throw in, which I don't really do that live. So.
Speaking
nice
of
ones.
that, I heard you singing Childish Gambino's Redbone. Holy moly.
That might...
Spoiler!
I might be performing that. Becky, I might be
I hope
performing
you
that.
will.
Go ahead and ruin it.
I might be.
No, it
that's
will
all
not
right.
be. It will
That's
not
all
be
right.
ruined.
Nah,
and
no,
he does
no.
it completely
And
without
by the way,
auto-tune.
everybody dies at the end of Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Oh, man. How'd you see the 7th season already?
Shoot.
Come on.
All right. So the other big question is, where do all these bowls come from that they're serving food into at this event? She told me about that as well.
So we have workshops on Friday nights here in the city at one of Cass's buildings, 3745 Cass Avenue. That's a 6:30 to 8:30 on Friday nights. You make a $10 donation, and you get to paint a bowl for us. And then we keep the bowl, we reglaze it, and then bring it to the event for guests to purchase.
So this is a culmination of something that's been going on for basically all year.
Right.
I do wonder, where do they store all the bowls? Is there does somebody have them in their basement or pantry?
Well, they have a facility where they fire them.
Oh, okay.
And I think there's a bunch of storage there. Or I participated in one of these bowl painting events. It was so fun. It was 100 women all together at the Foundation Hotel. Now, those actual bowls are going back to the Foundation Hotel because they have a program where every bowl of soup that's sold, $1, that's served in the bowls, and then $1 goes to empty bowls. So there's other ways they use the bowls as well. But this is kind of an underrated part of it, because if you go to this event, you get to take one of those bowls home, and they're really cool. And then somebody put their heart into painting it, and they're all different and unique, and it's just the whole thing around this. I love what they're doing.
Well, very cool. All 3 of us are going to be there Friday night. You should be there as well. If you want all the details, you can get them at emptybowlsdetroit.com. Also, you can hear my entire conversation with Bonnie. It's in our mobile app, as all these conversations are. You should download the mobile app.
Yes, because she has a lot more juicy details in it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of conversations in that mobile app. So go check it out when you get a moment.
Debrief.
Want more? Text the word Detroit to the number 444-999.
All right, Becky, we got to talk about Michigan Podcast Productions real quick. This is something that you and I started recently because we kept doing this podcast, and people keep saying to us, hey, we've been thinking about doing a podcast.
I want to start one, but I don't know how.
Have you been thinking about doing a podcast?
No, but I just come on. People who do it, I think it's great.
But you listen to a lot of them.
You listen to it, right? Yes, there you go. No, it is something that we've been talking to just a lot of folks about who are in the Detroit arts and entertainment community, a way to keep in touch with your fans. And so if that's something that interests you, we have launched Michigan Podcast Productions to help Detroit arts and entertainment organizations get their own podcasts up and off the ground. If you want more information, just go to the website.
And there's actually some excellent blog posts on there with free advice.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
I wrote some blog posts. So if you've been thinking about writing a podcast, there's some advice right there.
Yep.
The website is MichiganPodcastProductions.com. Check it out.
The D brief.
Brief.
The D brief.
All right, let's talk about some of the things that are happening around town. Starting with this, are you guys cat people or dog people?
Dogs all the way.
No
Cats.
hesitation.
Unfortunately, I'm allergic, so that's why I was just.
Oh, so you gotta.
Straight to you.
Did you have a dog?
No. Used to.
Oh no! Is there a sad story? Was there a mail truck involved? What's
No.
Not that
Nah. We won't talk about that.
All right.
Well, I have cats because they're easy. You know, we travel a lot,
Yep.
and they can take care of themselves for days at a time. But I think you know, one of our cats passed away like before Christmas, and it was our other cat's litter buddy. You know,
to hear
so we got this crazy kitten. Like
Do they live for a long time, Becky?
some cats can even
20 years,
20
I've heard.
years.
Yeah,
Yeah, but this cat was only 5, so he just it was terrible.
sick or
He was just
something.
terrible.
Wow.
So we got this crazy little kitten, and it's more fun watching them than TV. They're just hilarious.
Well, it's funny you should mention that because you can actually watch them on TV because Cat Video Fest 2019 is
gosh.
coming to the DIA.
Oh wow.
Yes.
This is
Strange
high art.
venue.
Yeah,
High art.
I heard Bob Saget's going to be there
Yes.
doing some voiceover work.
Well,
He's gonna
even
be
you
hiding
could
in-
enjoy cats this way because you wouldn't have to worry about
Yeah,
sneezing.
no allergy.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's
It's
funny.
happening Saturday and Sunday at the Detroit Film Theater. They are hand-selected, curated collection of around 80 minutes worth of cat videos.
That's a lot. 80. I mean, sounds entertaining. They are pretty funny. Some of the ones you see
They're very
online.
difficult to find online, so it's good that they're doing it.
There's no,
What would we do without this?
Yes.
All right.
Hottest ticket of the weekend.
Let me ask this: what's the farthest you guys have ever gotten in a competition? Have you? How about?
Yeah, I've gotten pretty. I got pretty far on The Voice.
Wait, The Voice.
Yeah,
The Voice.
2017. I think I made it. Well, there were 2 days of callbacks, and then I made it in front of like the producers and stuff. They like record you, and then they say, "Hey, well, we're gonna look at all these other people, and if we like what you see, if we like what we see, then we'll call you."
Was that here in
I never got the
Detroit?
call. This was in this was in Baltimore. Yeah, I went, stayed with like my granddad and my aunts and stuff.
Yeah,
and
back
then-
to the roots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you, none of the celebrity judges were there. This is
No,
the-
this was
no.
in front of the producers, so that's as far as you get. It starts with like, it starts with probably like, I don't know, 16,000 people. Then the next day is
Yeah.
like 8,000 people. Then the next day is like 2,000. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? They like kind of weed.
I always
weed
wonder about the
everybody out.
people who are really bad, like
Oh, they're there.
shouldn't be on TV.
yeah.
Oh, they're there.
For
They're
sure.
not like fed into that. It's not like
I think-
purposely
I think-
placing
I
bad
think
people in for the show.
I think Idol did that for a little bit.
Yeah.
But The Voice is a little bit more serious. Like I literally saw people who would audition. They'd be terrible and like literally they'd just be like, "Thank you," and then
Okay,
just move
okay.
on.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, they didn't really milk for you know what I'm saying, for views.
Yes, yeah, that's good.
Well, there's another competition that's about to happen. Round 1 of Motown Mic. This is a spoken word
This is gonna be
competition.
cool, man.
I like that.
It is created to pay homage to Motown Records' Black Forum label. It's a Motown spoken word label that was created by Berry Gordy and the Motown Corporation back in the 70s as a
Yes.
venue for black expression and education.
You can see some of those at the Motown Museum. You
Yep.
can see some of those albums.
So
yeah.
you've got guys like Langston Hughes was on it.
Oh, yeah.
Ossie Davis was on it. Dr. Martin Luther King, his "I Have a Dream" speech was recorded for the label.
Right.
Yeah. So they're looking for poets who get to perform. It's got to be clean, no profanity, maximum of
cussing.
3 minutes. How long do they give you on The Voice?
2
Two.
2 minutes.
minutes.
All right, so you get an extra minute.
Wow.
You got to figure out what you're going to do with it. The grand winner will win $1,500.
That's pretty good. And it's at the Garden Theater, too, which is a really cool venue.
Look, are you guys excited? The big movie opening this weekend is another Marvel film. It's Captain Marvel.
Don't know too much about it, man.
Yeah,
You're gonna,
well,
you're
I
gonna
know
have to
there's
explain it a little bit.
A lady hero, so I like that.
Yes, so this is the first one with a. I mean, there have been,
Sure.
you know, Scarlet Widow and things like that in there, but this
She's
is the
the
first.
main,
She
yeah.
is the main. She's
Who
the
is it?
standalone hero, Captain Marvel.
No, but who's the actress?
Oh, what is her name? The blonde.
I can totally picture her, but I don't know the
Wait,
name.
Intern to the rescue. What's the?
Brie
oh,
Brie
yes.
Larson.
Brie Larson, okay.
Yeah,
Brie
of
Larson.
course.
Yes,
Yeah,
so
she's
she's
cute.
going to be the. Now, she's playing Carol Danvers. I don't know a lot about these Marvel characters. This is a
Don't-
little deeper
don't
than
look
I
at me.
than I get.
Yeah, don't look at me.
But that is not the only Marvel in the Marvel universe.
Of course.
There's also Miss Marvel, who was played by, or who had various alter egos over the years.
Yeah, never knew.
Well, there is a brand new series coming out, The Magnificent Miss Marvel, and issue number 1 was written by Saladin Ahmed, who is from right here in the Detroit area. We've talked about him on the show before. Remember this?
Yeah. It's Ishmael's son, and he wrote Spider-Man.
Yes.
Which one?
The Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
Also wrote Black Bolt, Exiles, has his own series, Abbott. And he was also the Hugo-nominated writer of Throne of the Crescent Moon. Well, so he's written this brand new series. It's a big deal, and they're going to do a signing over at Green Brain Comics in Dearborn. This story is not Carol Danvers. This is Kamala Khan.
Okay.
For those of you who are, know more about this than I do.
And see, it's on March 13th. It's
Yes,
313 day. So here's
it's
another
a comic book
example.
day. There you go.
Yes.
Other things that are going on around town Saturday night, you've got the Detroit History Club hosting the Suffragettes Ball at the Detroit Yacht Club on Belle Isle. You're going to that, right?
I am. It's going to be sweet. It's all, you got to dress up for it.
What are you wearing?
I'll post a picture when I figure it out. But it's all my best 1919 garb. Okay, but it's going to be totally immersed in the time of the suffragettes, down to like exactly the food they're serving and such.
Cool. Saturday afternoon, Pewabic Pottery is hosting a Celtic celebration with Irish music and Irish libations. Saturday, you've got Monster Jam happening at Ford Field. Also, U of M is taking on Michigan State in basketball. If you need a place to watch the game, head over to Beacon Park. They're having a big party there. And then Monday and Tuesday, you've got Motor City Madness basketball championships happening at the LCA.
This is the D.
Detroit.
This is the D. Breathe.
All right, guys, there it is. That's a show.
Good stuff.
Apropos, how's this?
Hey.
How's this compare to performing live in front of people with empty bowls?
Hey, this is just motivation to get to the stage, man. I'm amped up inside, man.
This makes me want to get to the next level because I don't want to stay on this one.
I'm amped up, man. I'm having a blast.
A couple of things. We have a mobile app. You should go get it. It's available for Apple or Android, and you've got all kinds of bonus episodes, extra conversations,
Extra
in there.
goodies.
Yep.
You can listen to us on your Amazon Echo. Just say, Alexa, enable the Debrief podcast.
And who are we talking to on Friday, Becky?
Mary Ann Wilkinson, the new executive director at the Scarab Club.
All right. Before we get out of here, we like to give shout-outs to people locally, somebody who's, caught our attention, done something cool. Let's start with you, Becky. Do you have somebody you want to give a shout-out to?
Well, I do. So you all know I'm a fan of Luis Resto and his music studio. So he's one of Eminem's producers and a great musician in his own right. He has his music studio, which a lot of people don't realize, on the 3rd floor of DeVries there in Eastern Market. And he's often there and just has it open and lets kids play with his thousands of dollars worth of equipment, such like that. But he started a new program. The first one was last weekend called the Feeder Loft. So it's all about showcasing different musicians and up and coming and just some different world music that you might not necessarily hear. And it's cool because it's during the day on Saturdays in Eastern Market. So they have a new webpage and everything for Feeder Loft. So look that up and see what's coming up, and you can hear great music during the day.
Cool.
Awesome.
Apropos, what about you? Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Just my music people, people who inspire me. Steve Stone, my brother. He'll be on stage with me on Friday. Steve Howard. My brother Terrell Good, his fiance Tori, who's a sweetheart. My mom.
Aw,
Yeah.
Is she going to be on stage too?
No, she's not going to be attending that night. But and then a good buddy of mine, Young Rock. He's going to be. He has a show the next night, so March 9th he'll be at L Club. So
I saw that.
I'll be turning up twice. I guess I'm gonna be.
You're going to go to
rocking
his
the
show?
stage on Friday, and then I'll be watching him do his thing on Saturday. So I'm excited
Nice.
for that. So shout out to all those people.
Very cool. Hey, I want to give a shout out to Forbes because they are hosting their Under 30 Summit for the next 3 years here in the city of Detroit.
Very cool.
Yeah, this is a big deal. This is an annual multi-day conference that they do. It's going to draw 10,000 entrepreneurs and other attendees from over 70 countries around the world. And they're going to hold it here in October of 2019, 2020, and 2021. So we're very excited about that announcement. I mean, it's showing a commitment and an investment in the city of Detroit by Forbes, I think.
I look forward to welcoming all those people to the city of Detroit.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Don't forget, Empty Bowls, like we said, is happening Friday night. Thanks to Bonnie Mellos for telling us what that's all about. Mm-hmm. And you hit the stage at 9 o'clock there, right?
I do.
Yeah.
And my last shout out is to Bonnie Mellos. Hello. Love you.
Where can people find your music if they want to go check it out?
Spotify, iTunes, Tidal. But I like to tell people to go to my website because my managing partner does a really, really good job with it. Shout out to Spencer. It's veryapropos.com.
Nice. And for all the major labels that are listening, what's your Instagram handle?
It's APROPOS music, Apropos music.
All right, cool.
That's Instagram and Twitter.
We'll see you on tomorrow's show. Until then, Detroit's moving.
Sweet.
Keep up.
The D Brief.
Your guide to Detroit's arts and entertainment scene.